The other interesting observation here is that this whole story of younger people really thinking they've got a bit of the damp end of the stick is supported by the facts, because of course we've also got HECS debt, which is significant, whereas sometime previously that was less of an issue. You've also got the childcare costs as well, and this is another factor that people are still sort of, I think, wrestling with. So if you look at young households who need to have two working incomes to be able to get by, that means they have to spend more on things like childcare and other bits and pieces, as well as those high commitments they've already made. So they start not just at zero, but well under zero. Even without those wage increases, they got nowhere to go. But when you actually don't have wage increases that are actually above the real cost of living, then they continue to sink even further. And that's the dilemma that most people have in that sector at the moment.
Right, and you know what? That leads us back to the chart on outright home ownership, right? Now, historically, like I talk to older people, people with grandchildren and stuff like that, about what things were like, 20, 30, 20, 20, 30, 35, 40 years ago. And they were part of those generations where, almost two-thirds of people in the 55 to 64 age bracket back then had paid off their homes.
Yep.
And generally speaking, younger people were still able to buy in areas relatively close, if not in the same suburb as their parents were 20 years ago or 25 years ago. So you've got an issue now for young people whereby it used to be that you could drop the kids off with mum and dad for a day or two a week, and you could save the money on childcare. Or maybe you're in a situation where, because housing was cheaper, you only needed to work a couple of extra days a week until the kids went to school. So you don't have that, that village to help raise the children to anywhere near the degree that you used to when you could live around the corner from mum and dad. So I think that's another sort of, brick in the wall, so to speak, of just how things have changed, and not necessarily for the better.